Over the past few years, it's becoming more and more popular to have these deer blinds that are more and more portable. And so I decided to look around on Facebook Marketplace, and I was able to find a gravity box to make my own. I wanted to make the ultimate deer hunting blind. So I was able to pick up a nice gravity box that was in pretty good shape. It ran down the road just fine. And I was able to start my journey on building the ultimate deer hunting blind. And the first thing I had to do was prime it to get it ready for camouflage. Well, I got done painting the base color, and the base color is actually just a can of Kills. It's just a primer. It goes over really well. It covers the rust. It's nothing real special. This is just for camo on the front. It really doesn't need to even have camo because deer are so used to having grain bins out in the field anyway. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to use a little rattle can. I've got some pine boughs, so I'm going to just use those pine boughs, put them up against it, and I'm going to spray the rattle can over the top of it, and we're going to create a cool camo for this grain bin. And so we're going to cover the whole front, sides, and everything. It's going to be pretty cool. It's turned out really nice. I did a little practice run on the back here, and it turned out really neat. So I think my girls, Finley and Brooke, are going to help me with this. So they're going to be holding some of the supplies and helping me. It's kind of a little family project, so it should be fun. I think it turned out pretty good. Take a look at that back there. That's pretty cool. Not bad, not bad. The girls are inside playing around. And I've left this spot open right here. I think I might have a name for this when it's all done, but it's looking good. Not that I needed camo anyways, but it looks really cool. It came out really neat. A little bit of rattle can. I've got about $25 in Kills on this, one can of Kills. Obviously I didn't get the whole thing, but got most of it. Just rolled it on, simple. And then about I think I went through 3.5 cans of black paint, just cheap black paint from Walmart or something. And here we go. It turned out really good. I think that looks really nice, and hopefully once the blind is on top, it'll look even nicer. So stay tuned for this whole gravity box deer blind build. It's going to be cool. Well, I got a little ambitious and didn't get out the cameras, but as you can see, I've got it pretty well framed in all the walls. I'm gonna have a 36-inch window, then a 24-inch window, and then another 36-inch window, about 16 inches high on the 36ers. So I'm gonna have 3 windows, 2 horizontals and 1 vertical for a bow if you wanted to shoot a bow out of it. Got the same on the other side, and then I've got a 36 by 16 on the end to match these windows. And then on this side I have the door, and I have a small window on the door side. So that's going to be a door I cut down into the gravity box so that I could get in right there a little bit easier, be able to get in. I built the floor down low so that I could lower the center of gravity, but also be able to get by, you know, things like power lines and stuff like that, and able to move this down the road. I'd like to move this around and be able to go down the road fairly easily, and move it, you know, 20-30 miles at a time if I need to, every once in a while. So most of the time it's probably going to be sitting in a field, but it might be right behind the house here. But then other times I want to be able to just take it down the road and take it somewhere else and wherever I want to go. So it's coming along really good. Now for the roof, I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to do the roof. That's my poorest part of my building skills. I am not a framer whatsoever, and you guys are probably laughing at how I'm doing this, but it's a deer blind, so it's going to work just fine. It'll be fine for what it is. But the roof is kind of important here in Michigan with all the snow load that we get. But the nice thing is it's only about a seven foot span, so it won't be a very big roof. So I don't think the snow will be too bad on it. Going down the road might be the worst part. So on to the roof. Well, it's roofing day on the old Gravity Wagon box blind, and looks like I've got enough of this insulation. I've got this secondhand. It's used, but it's all in good shape. It's really reflective material. I've seen it done in deer blinds before, and it works really, really good to reflect the heat back in and keep the cold out. So I'm going to roll this across the roof, and I'm starting at the back because I want this to overlap going back. So I've got to start at the back and overlap it coming this way, so that when I'm going down the road with this wagon, not like I'm going to be doing high speed or anything with a gravity box, but I want to make sure all those overlaps are pointing to the back, not pointing to the front. So it's not going to catch any wind at all, which I don't expect it to, doing, you know, 30 miles an hour down the road, if that. So we'll see. But either way, I want to do it the right way, and overlap it starting at the back and overlap on top of that, so that everything is, you know, the air is all going that way. So I'm going to get started here. I've already rolled out one sheet of insulation. Looks like it's going to work pretty good. It's not going to land right on a stud. These are 16-inch on center rafters, I guess you would say. So it's not going to land right in the middle. I'll just overlap it a little bit. But again, it's a deer blind. Who cares? So just to make sure it's a little bit warm inside here, come winter time, we can heat it up a little bit. That'd be great. Well, the deer blind is pretty much done. I didn't get some of this on camera, and I apologize. Put in the windows. It was kind of getting towards hunting season, and I had to get it done and just didn't have anybody to carry the camera around with me, and it just takes up a lot of time to videotape it. So I just got it done, installed the windows, we put some great stuff foam in the walls, spray painted it black so it's dark, and we did it on the cheap. It's not very expensive blind. It kind of looks like it is, but I used leftover sheeting from my pole barn build and my roof on my house. So there's two different colors. There's green and gray, but you know what? It's cheap. And this is just a deer blind. So as you can take a look behind me, we've got all of the kills that we had from last year, and we'll just keep on doing that from year to year. Up here on the shelf, we've got the cartridges out of the deer that we shot. Those can be just lined up right here in a pen to write on the wall, which is kind of neat. Over here we got some hooks to put up our coats when we get inside the blind. Usually this blind is going to be used in the dead of winter. It's going to be very, very cold here in Michigan, snowy. It's just nice to get out of the cold. Down here we got a urinal. That urinal, you can actually take it off the wall and the women can squat over the top of it. So it works out really, really good when you have a bunch of kids in here. Last year we had 5 kids, 2 adults in this deer blind when my nephew shot his very first deer. And it was awesome because he shot that deer and all of them got to experience it. So it's been a really cool thing, this deer blind. And then let's keep on walking around. Right here we got a card table. You can play cards on it. You can sit at the table. Kids get bored. They want to sit at the table, or even adults. We can grab a pizza or something, come out here, sit down and eat while other guys are actually shooting out of the other side. All through the winter, we actually use this deer blind to shoot our guns. I had an Africa trip for March, and here in Michigan, it was snowy all through January, February, and into March. So we were able to just sit in the deer blind, shoot down my shooting range. I turned on the heater. I was able to shoot in my sweatshirt. It was great. So this is used for more than just a deer blind in the summertime. My kids can use it as a playhouse. It works out really, really nice. So it's used for a lot more things than just a deer blind. As we walk around, there's a heater down here in the corner. Right now the propane is inside. By the hunting season, that propane cylinder will be on the outside, so you can access it from the outside, and the propane cylinder will just be outside and be more safe. In the corner over here, we do have some shelving. Got some anti-fog spray for the windows and everything, and shooting bags, shooting rests to put on some of the windows. You don't want to be setting your gun on a hard windowsill. A lot of times it makes your gun shoot high. We've got shooting benches over here. I put a shooting bench along this side so that we can shoot this way. And then over here, also a shooting bench right here. We've got some 3D printed rifle holders right here. So you can lean your gun up against this shelf. You can lean it right up against there. It's nice and quiet. There's one over there in the corner as well. So, and they're carpeted, so you can set your binoculars down on there. It won't make any noise. And basically we set this up so that this side of the deer blind and that end are where we're gonna shoot. We're gonna try to get the deer to come out on this area. Sometimes that doesn't work. Sometimes you're out in a field and they come from different areas, so you can skip over to the other side. But for the most part, these are our shooting benches over here, and we try to shoot out that side. We do have a window over here by the door that we can open up, and open this up if we need to. If we're not using it, we can definitely shut it, so it's nice and dark inside here, and the deer can't see us. But it's been quite the deer blind so far, and there's probably still some improvements to be had. So one thing I get a lot of questions about is, why don't I tint the windows? And that's a really good question. On the outset, it sounds like that'd be a great idea to just tint these windows, and then the deer can't really see inside or anything. But I've chose to go another route. What I've done is putting up some curtains. As you can see behind me here, I've got curtains over these windows, so any of the deer looking in this side can't see back there. I keep it kind of dark in here. I cut off all the windows that I'm not going to be shooting out of. So with the curtains, the nice thing is when it gets into that magical hour where it's getting pretty dark, and especially in the late season here in Michigan, those deer a lot of times are coming out right at dark. And if you have tinted windows, all of a sudden it's 5 degrees out with a wind chill of -10, and you've got to open up all your windows because you can't see out of them because of the tint. So in my mind, in our situation, tinting is not an option. So we use these curtains. So the nice thing about them is I can switch these curtains from this side to that side and vice versa. And I can open up half of a curtain, half of a window, and look out half of it. I can just lift up a curtain, look underneath of it to make sure there's not deer coming in behind us or something. But the nice thing is I've just got a lot of options. I can cover every one of the windows in here except for one. I can cover up some of them. I can leave them all open. But the nice thing is about being up just a little bit in this gravity box, I'm about, my head is about 10 feet off the ground, 12 feet off the ground. So I'm similar to being in a small tree stand. And so when the deer are down below us, they're actually looking up and they're seeing the ceiling up above us. They're looking up like this. So they don't see a lot of the movement as you're looking. If the deer could look right through the windows, if you were at ground level, they could look right through the windows and they could see us moving in here. But we have the curtains, so even if they are level with us out in the field or something, they still can't see us. So that's why I don't do tinting on my windows. I've made these so they're nice and quiet. You can open these up, pop them open. I hook them up above. Very simple. They're not very expensive. I did it on the cheap. The nice thing is, once this window is open, I've got a nice shooting rest right here that I can get on. I've got sandbags in the corner that I can pick up, put on the windowsill, and then I've got it all set up so that you can make a nice shot out of this blind. And like I said, this blind is going to be used to have a bunch of camaraderie with your friends. Like, bring out a bunch of friends, have a good time, bring a pizza out here, and just enjoy hunting with friends, because all fall long we're up in a tree stand in the wide open. I hunt with a longbow. I've given it my all throughout the season, sitting in a tree stand out in the elements. Sometimes that late season comes along, we're just trying to shoot does, and you don't want to be sitting out there when it's negative 10 degrees or something, wind chills, blowing across the field. And a lot of the places that we hunt are also right out in the middle of these open fields. These are farmers that want to get rid of some of these deer, and there's just not good options on sitting on the woods, because you'll spook all the deer if you go up near the woods. With all the leaves down here in Michigan, you approach the woods and all the deer take off. So we'll set up right out in the middle of a field with this blind, and you can shoot towards the woods, but you don't have to go to the woods, so you can get in the blind. Good access. We've got more to do on this deer blind, so it's a work in progress, but so far this has been a wonderful blind for us, and we've had a lot of fun in it, getting the whole family out and hunting.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to my daddy's channel.